Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Fridays with Keenan's Cutting Edge. My name is Jenna Labor, and I will be your host as we explore the dynamic world of Don Keenan's trial philosophy, the cutting edge. Those of you joining us live this afternoon, and yes, we are live, have the opportunity to ask questions and interact with our speaker. If you have a question or a comment, please put it in the comments section below the video, and we will be sure to address it. Episodes are released each week following the live broadcast, so be sure to hit that subscribe button and click the alerts icon so you don't miss an episode. Today, we have Amy Gibson back with us, a wonderful repeat guest on the podcast. As you all know by now, Amy is both a practitioner who comes on to talk about fantastic trial results she has gotten with David Wiley, as well as a trusted KTI faculty member. And so today she's going to talk to us about a new college that's going to be offered at the beach in person with wonderful KTI faculty. And I don't know who yet, so we're going to learn about that in a little bit. We'll put her contact information in the description box below. So if anybody wants to reach out to her afterwards for more details, any questions about the podcast, please feel free to do so. Now, I am excited to learn more about this. It's been a minute since a new college has come out, especially one that's being offered at the beach, which is so fun and so immersive and so just all-encompassing. I had an opportunity to get a sneak peek at the blog post that's going to come out about this. And so my appetite is whetted and I can't wait to learn more. Amy, what is this new college and how do we sign up?
All right. So, hey, Jenna, no signups yet. So this is just going to be a preview. But before I start the PowerPoint, I'm going to tell everyone that, so I know a little bit about Jenna just from being in colleges together. I still remember your cases, Jenna. But also, we both went through trial training together. And so if you stay till the end, I will tell you why most Ted Lasso episodes remind me of Jenna. But you might have to remind me to say it.
I've got it in my notes. I'm going to ask.
All right. So let me share screen. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is an actual picture of water at the beach on a cloudy day, but where this is taking place, the water is so clear that even from way back, when you see people in the water, you can see their whole body.
Wow.
And that's amazing to me because I'm from Texas and some people, I think it's prettier than that, but some people say that Texas Gulf Coast is kind of like the toilet bowl.
Oh,
the United States.
Well, if you've ever been to Washington State, you'll see a whole different type of ocean. It looks nothing like that, and you can't see anybody's body in the water. You don't want to, actually. The reason you can't see someone's body in the water is because nobody's body goes in the water. It's way too cold, and you will die.
Well, this is beautiful, and so all the pictures here. They're actually of Miramar Beach, which is the location for this new college, is courtesy of BB Sanford, who went through KTI colleges and along with her dad was half the trial team on a $366 million verdict in a single plaintiff employment case. So
mind blowing.
Yeah,
And BB and Brian came on and talked about that.
Oh, good.
So folks, go back in the archives and check that one out. It's inspiring.
Yeah, one of the things that the colleges do, this is going to be a different type of college, but it's putting attorneys on the map when it comes to verdicts. Mm-hmm. And what's a big verdict depends on your case, right? 10 million is not great if you've got a 40 million case, but it's putting all these regular people on the map in top verdicts. So I think that's kind of fun. All right.
And it's really great for younger lawyers like me and Young G, for example, or BB, who is even newer to law than we, who get to be part of these large verdicts, because that's something that doesn't happen every day as an actual active part of the trial team. So it's very exciting.
Right. It's no coincidence that I had 0 top verdicts until KTI. So it's fun. And if you're experienced too, you learn a lot. So for this new program, this is what it's called. It's called The Beast. So what is that? Is it going to be, and for those of you who are listening, there's visuals for this. So watch it on, I guess, YouTube if you can. but the beast, is it going to be more like this picture, right? This old school St. George is slaying the dragon. Are we the beast, and defense is going to start doing, their own CLEs on how to slay us? It's not that. It's going to be more like this little kid. Happy. One thing about these colleges, and this college, is you can get through it faster, and it's a lot of hard work, but it's happened with us. And one of the most common things I hear is it reduces your blood pressure.
Youngji's going to watch this. She's at a meeting right now, but she's going to watch this after, because that was the thing that drew her attention the most. She was like, any way we can reduce this, because our blood pressure goes up just like through the roof. We have both had health conditions related to trial practice. Even while doing the Edge, even though the Edge makes it so much better. And so I'm just so thrilled about that part of it.
Yeah. Well, one of the best things it does is, if you're stressed about something, is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? Just focus group it. Yeah. And stop stressing out about it. Look, I still get butterflies, but my blood pressure is way down. Just the combination, you don't engage with the BS that the other side's giving. You have a whole lot more control, and hopefully you feel like this little kid so happy in his or her little tie-dye shirt. So here's what it stands for: Beachside Edge Advanced Systems Track. So, Jenna, when we say systems, what does that mean?
Well, as Edge lawyers, we're always looking for the system that broke down in order to create the foundation for the presentation of our case. So I imagine, and each college has their own system. So I imagine that is what this means.
Yeah, each piece of it has a system. And I know some people are lucky, and maybe as a young attorney, you're working under an inner circle advocate, but I didn't have that. So I needed all the step-by-step. This is what you do in jury selection. This is what you're looking for. This is what you're not looking for. And there are systems from start to finish that Don Keenan created. Don Keenan's coming up on 50 years of practice soon. And it's kind of he's like, look, I learned all these hard lessons. And I had a lot of mentorship, and I'm going to pass it on. And here you go. Save yourself some time and heartache. But this one is just an advanced track.
So if it's advanced, if we haven't taken any colleges, can we still attend?
So there are prerequisites. It's only the intro video and rules, but we will talk about who it's good for and who maybe it's not good for.
Okay.
But it's open to everybody. Some of the best advice I've gotten at colleges is from really, really new attorneys. And Jen, are people when we do these colleges, are people mean?
No, everybody's very open and vulnerable. I have had classes where there are a lot of higher level folks, and sometimes it can get a little bit competitive. But even then, there's anybody who has a question. Nobody makes fun of you for asking dumb questions. And Don, and I say this all the time, but Papa Don always says, if you have the question and you want to know about it, chances are somebody else does too. And that's why when you ask a question, no matter how simple or if it sounds silly in your head, someone's probably thinking about it, no matter how long they've been practicing.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to ask questions, even if it's I don't know what that word means.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. And the colleges are a safe place to fail. And you're not gonna be in a college with peacocks. No one peacocks. Peacocks is what David and I call attorneys who only want to talk about themselves, don't want to collaborate, only care about themselves, and just want to brag about, how awesome they are. And we call them peacocks because that's all they do is go around. Right. So for these colleges, I'm just kind of answering reporter questions here, and they're out of order, but where? Because even though it's hard work, it's pretty. So this is a Keenan law firm. in Miramar Beach, Florida. The inside is a lot bigger than it actually looks in this picture, but
From where it was,
it's what?
has it moved since like pre-COVID? Trying to think because it didn't look.
So it's pretty new,
Okay.
and I think they're still doing stuff to the interior and adapting it, but they're already running focus. You know, if you can't find it, you know you have it because there's signs that say focus group this way.
Okay.
So yeah,
That's beautiful because the time I went and was at the law firm, it was still in that like strip mall area. I don't know if you remember where.
Yes, it has changed, and Keenan Law Firm, the address on your website needs to be updated.
Yeah.
So
Updated web person.
yeah, and it's surprisingly close to the beach. When I went for other training, 7 of us who didn't know each other that well, like we emailed, we all got a place together. Everyone had their own bed and their own bathroom, but that's a little scary, right, Jenna? I mean, it's one thing to like know each other and it's another to like hang out like that.
Yeah.
And it actually worked great. It was super fun. And this is, an actual picture of the beach, which is it's not that far away.
Yeah. And so, and that's the one that you're accessing from the office.
So the beach?
Yeah.
So there's the office, then there's a road, then there's some places where you can do like Airbnbs.
Yeah.
It's all super close, like within a mile. But from those Airbnbs, like we were maybe, I don't know, it felt like 0.1 away from the beach. So it's really close, and there's a boardwalk, like with actual boards. Not that you get to see it a lot, but it's pretty.
That's the thing, people. I mean, we're showing these beautiful pictures and you can kind of see them, but you're not lounging.
Right. All right. So what it is, so it's 2 separate 2-week tracks. So 4 weeks total, but separated in time. Like you won't be going for 4 weeks at a time. It's 2 weeks. And the first one, and the little toolbox here is because that's kind of what it does. It gives you the systems, the steps, and kind of tools for your toolbox for whatever kind of case you have. So the first 2-week session is for before trial, meaning intake through pre-trial prep. And here's the current schedule. So Monday is your opening. Tuesday, depositions. I know y'all can read, folks, but there are some people who listen.
If you're listening, that's perfect. Yeah.
I'm not trying to insult your intelligence. Normally, I'd say just read this. Witness prep, then damages, admitted liability, meaning what do you do when in a really great case, they admit liability, usually like the day before trial, the morning of trial. And then black letter law, everything done is based on black letter law. And then Sunday you're off, but you have homework.
And so if it's a 2-week program, does that happen? Do you do that twice, that repeat?
So I just didn't, I don't want to have too many words on one visual slide.
Okay.
This is probably too many already. So the next slide is the rest of it.
All right. Got it. What? Okay.
Yeah. Then you come back the next Monday, more black letter law. Tuesday is seeing is believing. Jenna, you know what that is. What is that?
That's all your visuals, your demonstratives, everything that increases the jury's absorption and retention of the words that you're saying.
Yes. Pictures don't lie.
Yep.
Unless they're deep fakes.
Yeah, or they could be faked. Although, I mean, I assume, I don't know, and you know, but that Don will probably address that, or whoever's teaching us will address that, because long ago he mentioned, video, especially day in the lives and things like that. As we are able to edit video, it becomes less credible. So how do we find a credible visual, right? And with AI, how does that factor in? And that's going to be really interesting discussion.
Right. And visuals that tell the story without you saying, as the attorney, saying a word. And then Wednesday's focus groups, like learning. Then Thursday is focus groups with a mock focus group, like bringing people in, making you practice. Everyone will fail. I probably hold the record for the most epic fails, but it's a safe place to fail and you learn, and you don't want your first or next epic fail to be during trial. And then Friday is just kind of whatever questions people still have, disconnects, debrief. Is there any remaining work? And then in the evening, there will be dinner and a graduation. And so that's basically a lot.
So that's the pre-trial track, right? So that's the first 2 week course. Okay.
Right. And for people who haven't done any of it before, one great benefit is we can do focus groups so much cheaper than defense can. It's not even funny, but like maximizing value. It's amazing what you can get for less than $500 running a focus group. And then, the second is, it's called Ready for Trial, but it's really getting ready for trial well before trial, right? These are not things that you're like, oh, okay, well, I've got trial in a month. I'm going to go to the second part of this. A lot of this you're working on much earlier. And so Monday is direct exam. Do you teach direct exam, Jenna?
I do. I teach direct, trial, and seeing is believing. Yes, I do.
And so, maybe we'll be lucky enough to have Jenna as one of our teachers.
Ooh, maybe. I have not been asked yet, and there are some very good direct exam teachers. So,
well, nobody has been asked yet.
Oh.
We'll talk about it in a minute, but they're going to beta test the just like a product, right? I mean, you're not. Whoever, Apple, Microsoft, whoever, doesn't throw out a product without testing it and then kind of almost doing like soft opening, seeing what's still wrong, working with it. So they're going to do that in this fall for the first one, and then early next year for the second part. And it will be tweaked, and they will pick amazing teachers like Jenna. Jenna's a really good teacher. And like direct exam, I think is super hard. It can be very powerful if done right.
It's my hardest. I always say that. It was one of the reasons I wanted to teach it, because I'm not good at it, and I wanted to learn how to be better at it and how to help others be better at it. So,
yeah. And this is okay. I mean, we're humans. We don't want to run away from it, but it can be so powerful. Like sometimes I'm doing a directive, whether it's a client or a before and after witness, and I am so choked up and kind of in tears too, that I have a hard time getting out my next question.
Yeah.
I just have to take a pause. So Tuesday's cross exam, Wednesday's trial, and trial, like it's amazing the little things that you learn, like because of the trial training, I now take notes in a very different way. Before the trial college, I would even like at depositions be taking down my client's address. Like why? For what reason?
Yeah.
I was taking notes to take notes. So just like even down to the detail stuff. Thursday's jury selection, Friday's jury selection with mock jury. Saturday's hit list. Hit list is basically the things that you need to show for the jury to win your case. And that is separate from the work you already have to do to prove whatever the jury charge or whatever the law requires you to do. Again, Sunday off, but you will have homework. And then Monday, more hit list. Tuesday is mediation. Wednesday and Thursday is trial management, which includes all these like checklists for before trial, down to the detail, how to use jury spotters, all kinds of fun stuff like that. And then Friday, again, questions, debrief, any remaining work, and then dinner and graduation. And then I know it says mediation in here, but I want to talk about what the beast is not. And It is not about settlement. So for anyone listening, I have someone has cut up out of a magazine and put it on a poster. It says, last chance, pay up now or else. But no, this is all about getting ready for trial. Now, the bizarre thing, Jenna, is what happens if you prepare hard for trial.
I mean, that's the problem. Then they want to throw all the money at you.
Right. And so I am not, and nobody is saying if they offer enough money, and you learn how to do that in mediation college, if they offer enough, you don't still go try the case, because then it's just your ego, right? All of this that we're doing is about not us, but our clients. And I didn't get into detail, but like a lot of the colleges will help your client have such a much better experience with the justice system. Witness prep, they love. I get texts even on random things, like just letting the client know what's happening. Thank you so much. I never thought it would be this fun. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Super bonding. And how not, your client's never gonna, for example, get iced in a mediation ever again. Iced meaning like ice the kicker, right? Where they make a client sit for hours and hours and hours. That shit ain't happening. And it's not easy. So if you think, oh, I want to go do the beast because it's less time and it'll be so much easier and they'll just spoon feed me the stuff, wrong. It is actually harder to accomplish it, harder work to accomplish it in a shorter amount of time.
Well, plus it's kind of a marathon, versus a couple of days on one thing, and then you get a break, and then you can do another college, and then there's a break. This is like one after the other, boom, 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 learning. And and I think, not to spoiler alert, but I think William said in the blog, it was like, forget drinking from one fire hose, you'll be drinking from two, kind of a thing.
Oh, so I gave Jenna a preview of the blog before it came out, but it just came out this morning. So so it's not a secret. Yeah, but yeah, it is probably like drinking from two fire hoses if you've never had the colleges before. But even like, I want to do this. There's an attorney in Texas who takes a train. Texas is pretty big, y'all. And he takes a train back and forth across Texas for no reason other than there's no phone, no internet, and he can sit and work on a file. Like, because people don't have time anymore.
Yeah.
I would love to take my case to do this whole thing.
Yeah.
And even if you've taken colleges before, you'll learn again. So we talked a little bit about like who can go, anyone, who should go. Well, I say anyone. It's a little more complicated than that. But you're going to have to study. You're going to have to work hard. It is not playtime at the beach. If you are a young attorney, no, it is not like party time in Miramar Beach, Florida. Maybe last weekend.
Yeah.
Right. You could, if you stay
dinner peppered in,
Right. Or if you stay over. The prerequisites are just the welcome to the Keenan Edge plus your rules college. So open to anyone. You're going to have homework, a lot of homework. Like the reading, I'm talking like a ton of reading. You cannot wait until the night before. So there's a lot of work in the ramp up, but all of the homework will help you like the colleges help you in all of your cases. You're going to have to do some research. Like, you're probably going to have to know the biggest cases on cause strikes in your jurisdiction. You're going to have to do certain other legal research before you go, and you'll have written homework, like maybe do your rules. I don't know what it's going to be, but maybe it's to identify like the biggest hurdles in your case, or maybe it will be focus group autopsies for any you've done so far in your case. I don't know, but it's going to be a lot. And then there's a limit to how many people. This is why I say it's open to everyone, but each is going to be limited to 10 attorneys, no exceptions for each 2-week session. I say no exceptions because when a course is full, people will say, please, can you just add me? Can you just add me? Not for this. 10 max. 10 is the max. And there will be an application process for everyone. One cool thing is there will be 1 or 2 scholarships for each 2-week session. Scholarship means that your tuition is free.
What's the criteria for that? Has that been determined yet?
No, it hasn't, but I can tell you what it's not. It is not based on income. Like no one's going to go through your bank statements. Like it's not a poverty thing. Maybe you've done all the colleges, right? And you're like, oh, I don't think I can afford, this one. You could do it. If you just want a scholarship, whatever reason, but I'm guessing what they're looking for is people who are not scared. Like, okay, this is hard, but I'm going to find a way kind of people. Or the law in my jurisdiction is X and such, but I'm going to dig in and find a way to do this. I'm going to go back to basics on the law in my jurisdiction and do it. People who want to collaborate and are willing to do the work is probably the main reason.
So like if the financial thing is really going to be the only difference between you being able to do it and not, they might be willing to do that little extra bump, We've all been there where it's like one of those years where we're like, oh, I just haven't done any settlements this year. And, you're kind of thin and you've spent a bunch of money on these edge courses or other CLEs. And you're like, shoot, I want to do this one too. So yeah. And it's always said, just ask. Even at the college, it always says, just ask.
Yeah. Exactly. Just ask. But I do want to be clear, like no one's going to dig into your finances or anything. I think David, the other half of our firm, I think we graduated from all the colleges. We had our first settlement hit where it was way more than what was considered a really good settlement in our area with really good attorneys. And we just took that and put it back into the colleges. But yeah. And what happens when you start getting big verdicts? What does defense do?
They're paying you more.
Well, that's true on settlements, but they appeal, right?
Well, yeah, that's true. So yeah, that's true. And I'm excited to get verdicts like that. That's my first question for people who come on the podcast with these big verdicts. I'm like, well, have you collected yet? Like, what's the situation now after your huge verdict?
Right. Are they going to pay up? A lot of times they're too butthurt to.
It's surprising. They thought they were going to kick you down. And
right. My favorite ones are where it's like 0 offer cases, or defense is so proud about how they think they're doing at trial that they're live tweeting during the trial.
Whoa, I haven't had that yet. Well, actually, I guess to my knowledge, because I don't have a Twitter, so I don't know.
Yes. I mean, and not giving away anything secret, but just like, we're doing great. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, I get it. The play-by-play.
Yeah. And then, so all the students, you're going to collaborate with each other. If you don't care about your clients and you don't care about other attorneys, it's probably not like the right situation for you. And then the teachers, they're not chosen yet, but it's going to be the best teachers, but the teachers all have the same information. What I mean by best teachers are just the teachers who are really good at teaching what Don Keenan taught them to teach. Because as far as the information goes, like it's not the Jenna show, it's not the Amy show. It's Don Keenan. But he doesn't have the bandwidth to teach for the demand. But yeah, you work together, it ends up being really, really fun. And then the why. So why are they even doing this accelerated advanced Beach College situation. One is money. So the price is to be determined, but it will be less than if you paid for all the colleges separately. And we, like, even before this, David and I would try to do back-to-back colleges, because for two of us, and I can only imagine like at bigger firms, we're saving on airfare. And we would also like get an Airbnb, and we would go to the grocery store and like bring our own lunches, even if it's catered, because we realized that eating all the really good catered food was starting to make us sick after a while.
Yeah, I mean,
we're
it's
getting
food, but it's, yeah, rich.
Yeah, we were getting sick more easily. So it's a big savings. And even on where you stay, getting a group can make it cheap at like a big house where you can all be together, but all have your privacy too. It ends up being like often less than a hotel, often less than a pretty cheap hotel. With the exception of one hotel that David Wiley made me stay in one time.
Oh no.
It was bad.
Were there bed bugs?
No, but it was so awful. It was a hearing or something, nothing huge.
Yeah.
I put some clothes out and slept on top. And when I woke up to check out in the morning, the sign above the counter said, "No refunds after 15 minutes. Oh, that is so gross.
No, you regret sleeping on top for sure. No, they don't clean those duvets.
I know. So yeah, we used to try to do back to back. And some people have done like all the colleges back to back, but it's really hard.
It's hard. It is hard. And, those of us coming from farther away too, it can be a little bit of a deterrent where it's like, okay, as you just pointed out, but there's airfare, there's lodging, there's food, there's the tuition,
Right.
and there's all that stuff versus, folks who are from the Southeast can kind of just drive there, and some can drive there for the class and then drive home and that kind of thing. So I think
Right.
Being able to just really drill down and go for a couple weeks. And some people might think, oh my gosh, where am I going to find 2 weeks? That's a different challenge, certainly. But, and so I guess I have some questions about that as you move on, but I'm not going to ask them yet. So next.
Okay. And it saves a lot of time. I mean, really for the same reasons, but when just the travel days, or flight delays and all the time in the airport, it saves a ton of time. It is so much faster than doing these individually. And some, as you'll see, are basically abbreviated courses. I can't wait to see how on earth they're going to teach witness prep in a day.
I know.
Or trial in a day. They can do it. I mean, that's why they're going to beta test it, but it saves a ton of time. And it saves the whole thing. Like, maybe, I hope I didn't overpromise on blood pressure, but the whole thing gives you more confidence in, like, you're working hard, but ultimately, like, think of it like a funnel, right? There's a small end and the big end.
Mm-hmm.
So these colleges, it's like you're going in the small end and it's hard, but you come out the other end and things are easier. You get adapted to it. Some things become like breathing, and our blood pressure is way down than what it used to be.
Your blood pressure might be high. You might be stressed during the colleges, but the point of those colleges and this whole learning process is so that the rest of your life and your practice is less.
Right. You have more control. You know what you're doing. By the way, if anyone's in a jurisdiction that doesn't have jury selection, interesting thing is the jury selection that you learn is really more important if you don't have attorney-led jury selection in your jurisdiction, because you've got to know what you're looking for and what you're looking to get rid of before you go in without that. And the jury selection colleges help a lot with that. And then just travel, less travel. You get to stay in one place. I love to travel, but I get tired of traveling all the time. And it's also just a fast track compared to doing all the colleges. But it used to take people years, like depending on schedule. Like I need to get into, I remember we had a hard time getting into focus groups because it was full. And we needed that to do other things. And so it can take a while.
And then it's like you have one case that you're working on for a few of the things, and then that case ends and you're going to a different classes and you've got a different case. And then this is really nice that you can just bring one and all the way through. Although you and Young G, y'all sailed through, didn't you? We did. I think we were very close to what you and David did. I don't know if we did it fully in a whole year. We might have done undergrad in a year.
I feel like y'all were in all of our classes.
We did a lot of them with you guys. We're kind of on that same track. But for us, it was one of those things where we were just like, oh my God, because I took voir dire and opening before I did a trial. And the trial was, there's a Superstar blog post about it. And so I saw the proof in the pudding. And so then I was like, yep, doing all the courses,
Oh, yeah. And it's also like no coincidence. I mean, some of it's reduced blood pressure, but it feels really good to have jurors hug you.
Yeah. Feels really good.
Or to be the
council mad.
Yeah. Or to be the out of town, like if we're in a small town, we get the Dallas lawyers, it's so nice when the out of town folks are so like, thank you for coming out here, or court reporters saying, oh my gosh, that's the best closing I've ever heard. And I mean, I don't think they would understand, but I'm like, it's all Don Keenan, Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. We have one audience. Oh, sorry. One audience question that I'm going to ask now, just on. Oh, actually it's perfect because you have when, and Scott Porschke asks, when is there a date yet set for the Beast? I know you talked a little bit about that in the beginning, but Scott, it looks like we are coming to the answer of your question now.
Well, look, let me just preview that. Like we do not have an answer right now. All right. So it's to be decided because they've got a beta test, and they may change the order. They may change some things, who knows what they'll change. Then there's an application process, but y'all will have plenty of advance notice. Like this is not going to be like, oh, next month. Because we know people have got to block out time. In some places, some jurisdictions, you can do like a leave of absence, so people will leave you alone. Young attorneys at firms, if your firm is for this, you get 2 weeks that should be blocked off for them. Yeah. Like your bosses should leave you alone for a whole 2 weeks. But so it'll be months notice, many months notice. And we talked about this. They're going to test starting this October or November, and in early 2024, the second part. And then they'll give plenty of notice for the 2024 college. So my guess is going to be like fall, winter.
And Amanda Hernandez asks, will beta testing be open for applicants? Who is going to beta test this?
I don't know the answer to that. I know that they have asked a certain group to help beta test, but if they don't have enough people, they may open it up. So I don't know. I don't really know the answer to that.
So keep your eyes peeled, everybody, because it's possible, especially maybe if they do a first beta test and it's people kind of closer to the KTI faculty or people who are on staff at KLF or something like that. And then maybe they open it up a little bit more into the second beta test, what is that, the alpha test? I can't remember which way it goes. A, alpha, beta, Charlie, or vice versus
Yeah, one of those. It's one of
so,
those.
keep your eyes peeled for notifications about that. And then Scott asked if there's an approximate date, and Amy just mentioned, Scott, that we're maybe assuming possibly fall-ish, fall of 2024, maybe into the winter of 2025, that we have something more solid for kind of an application and actual attendance of the final thing. But
Yeah.
this is also a process that Don has followed, as to my understanding, for all the colleges. Maybe not as extensive, but certainly he does, he brings faculty in to go to the college, and then he trains them, and then so this is par for the course.
Yeah. And I think William and Don were reminiscing about like the very first colleges and the testing. And I think their descriptors are probably word that who is it? The FCC, whoever monitors what's on.
Yeah. I think
what's on a podcast or whatever probably aren't sayable. Mm-hmm. But the reason I say I'm not sure for everyone on beta testing, it may be, but I'm thinking they want probably fairly high level people who will be open and mean and tear not mean, but you know what I mean.
Well, really brutally honest or whatever.
Because my first colleges, I mean, I was just so amazed with every single one. I was always going to give a good grade because it was so new and amazing to me. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know on that. And then this, I'm not going to say where this is. Again, this is picture courtesy of BB Sanford. But look for this if you get to go to any college at the beach, and you'll figure it out. But that's it as far as just explaining the outline. I do want to answer questions, but I promised that I would tell why Ted Lasso episodes remind me of Jenna.
Yes, tell us.
So
I've never watched the show, so I don't even know.
And you don't have to know about the show to understand the connection. But when we were training for trial, Jenna was dating this guy who's now her husband. And she had this necklace, and we're asking her about the necklace, or maybe Dawn was asking about the necklace.
It was some exercise. He always picks on me. So it was some exercise about like.
Yes.
What about you.
Probably the jewelry exercise. And what was the necklace about, Jenna?
So it's this little bar. In fact, I just had it on recently, but it's a little gold bar, and it says Mama Shark on it. And it has two little sharks, because we don't have children like human children, but we have two dogs. And so our baby sharks are our two dogs. So, and we had, so Luke and I, my husband, had been obsessed with the Baby Shark song, which is kind of weird because we don't have kids, but we found it. We were like, oh my God, Baby Shark, do. So,
yes.
So yeah, that was embarrassing. I was dying. I was like bright red. And Dawn's like, are you kidding me? What the hell is Baby Shark? What is wrong with your boyfriend? You better be breaking up with this guy. He's a weirdo.
But yes, so Jenna got teased, and we're all singing Baby Shark a lot. And so on Ted Lasso, there is a soccer player named, Jamie Tart. And so every time he's on the field, they're like, Jamie Tart, Jamie. And I think of Jenna every time, and her now husband, and their fascination with Baby Shark,
Baby Shark.
So that is why.
And that's a really good example of, what like association or coupling or all of these kind of concepts that we learn in Edge about taking something that's just kind of regular, like a piece of jewelry that I happen to be wearing, and connecting it to an experience. And now Amy thinks about it all the time, and you want to kind of do that with your jurors as well, which is part of that, whole thing. Well, there was multi-layers, as there always is with everything that Don does, as to why he asked me about that. But, it all goes into keeping the jury, their attention, learning more about them, getting them engaged. And now I'm permanently stuck in Amy's mind.
Yeah, with the Baby Shark. Well, because it was an emotional story. It was cool. And also, like, come on, you can't get that tune out of your head once you've heard it. And For the beach college, it will be long days. I think they want to try to end by 8. Who knows what the beta testing will do? There is a fridge if you want to bring your own food. There's places close by, but that's not as long, is it, Jenna, as the training we had to do for days and days?
Yeah.
You may not remember this, but do you remember what Dawn said the night we're leaving before we're going to head in the next day to our final day of training? And we're so tired.
I don't even probably know.
He said, I know y'all are tired, and I know you're going to try to get extra sleep. He said, but for the love of God, please at least put on deodorant and brush your teeth. And you think, oh no, but it's true. You start bargaining. You're like, oh, I don't really need to shave my legs or whatever it is. I don't really need to take a shower if I can sleep a little bit longer. So it won't be grueling like that, but it'll be very hard work, hurt your brain, make you tired. But it'll be so worth it. So worth it. And that's all I have.
Let me look at, I wrote down a few questions as we were chatting. Let's see. Okay. This might be something that folks want to know. I mean, does this replace colleges? Should we do the colleges first and then do this? Should we plan on doing the colleges anyways, but maybe bring a case to this? How does it fit in?
Either way, you can do this first, but it takes, and people can do it. Like you and Young G, you sailed through the colleges. It just was expensive, right? Ada Wong from your area too. She sailed. I remember seeing her in like every class. And I remember all of you because I would be like, Jenna, who's Jenna? She's like really smart. Who's this Ada? She's really smart. And all of you are teachers now. But she sailed through. So this allows you to do that. And it'll be less expensive and you just knock it all out at once. Now, that seems like a long time, but if you are having to travel, it takes longer. And even for Zoom exhausts me. Like I kind of lose a day anyway when it's all by Zoom. I just don't get as exhausted with in person. But also, if you have already done it, or maybe you want to make sure you're up to speed on all, like it's been a while since you took deposition college, or you just want to take one case, it's an important case and you want to take it start to finish. So it's for every level. The main thing is don't expect, it's not a shortcut. Like, don't expect like, oh, this is the Cliff Note. Do they still have those Cliff Notes for kids? Whatever it is these days.
I reference that. I don't know.
Cliff Notes, it's not going to be like that. So it is going to be hard, but anyone can do it. There's lots of different reasons to do it. I know it seems weird to set aside that block of time, but it's actually less time. It's going to be less time, less money.
Do you have an estimate of the cost of the course?
No. Well, no. Okay. I can't even tell little white lies. Yes, but I'm not going to say what it is because they really need to see what the expenses are. What I know is it's going to be cheaper than if you went to the colleges, all these colleges individually.
Okay. All right.
So they're working on it.
Okay. All right. And then I know Scott's super fixated on the date and I want to honor that, Scott. I know we're like super excited about it. So yes, we are looking at probably fall 2024 into winter of 2025, probably. And that's such an estimate right now because as Amy said, they haven't beta tested it yet. She's not even sure who is going to be part of that beta test. And it's always been very important to Papa Don and all of KTI to deliver a very quality product that's like polished and ready to go and not just something that they're going to charge you to come in and they're like, here's what we think.
Right. And since I know Scott is from Texas, when Jenna says winter 2025, she does not. So in Texas, winter is like, well, our real winter is usually around Valentine's Day the next year.
Okay.
But she means when she's talking winter, she means like early in the year.
Yeah, like January, February.
Not like Texas, where we think of it as like maybe we should do fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Quarter of 2025, fourth quarter of 2024. Right.
So anyway, so sometime later next year. But then once it's a go, it builds, right? And hopefully more will be available. And part of it is also keep in mind too, your teachers, that's huge dedication. Now they don't have to stay the whole time. But that's a big commit for them as well.
Do faculty get, if you are a faculty person teaching this, do they get to sit in on the rest of it?
So yes. Yeah. You can. Now, I think somebody asked that question and it was like, yes, you absolutely can, but you need to shut your mouth.
Mm-hmm. You're not bringing your case there because it's the max 10 students.
Correct. You got to be quiet as a mouse, quieter than a mouse.
Quieter than a mouse. Okay. And then is it at this point, and this may be an unknown as well, is it something that will be offered multiple times a year, once a year? Is it just kind of, we'll see?
I don't know. I hope so though. I mean, part of it is going to depend, like, I don't know if people watching this know, but Don Keenan, like all this money is not going to Don Keenan. It goes to the people who run it, like William and Chandra, so that they get paid, they have benefits, goes back into helping teach, and then any profits go to Keenan Kids Foundation. So a lot of it depends on volunteers. So all of the teachers are volunteers. They are not paid. Their expenses, I say this in case anyone wants to be a teacher, ultimately, they do pay your expenses. Like you're not having to pay your own airfare and hotel and all of that. But yeah, so part of it depends on volunteers, getting people to commit. But I mean, I think people are excited. Like, can we do one just for med-mal? Can we do one just for employment? Mm-hmm. Eventually, who knows? But, and it also depends on how well it's received. Most things are done by demand. Like there weren't very many focus group courses in the rest of this year. And so a bunch of the employment attorneys from all over the country got together and got enough people and said, would you please have an extra focus group course? And they said yes. Okay, I can't promise that for everyone, but
Don knows always say, just ask and see, because if I'm sitting there going, oh God, I wish I had another class, I would go, maybe there's another person who also would, and then you can gather 10.
Right. And I know that's a long way of saying we don't know, but there was a reason for telling you that. It means if you want it, you need to show it, right? So apply, work. If you're a teacher, if you're a really good teacher, volunteer to teach, that kind of thing. Yeah. And then as far as you had asked, I think about 2 weeks. In some jurisdictions, you can take like a leave of absence and block it out. In Texas, only in state court can we do this. We can do a vacation letter and we're limited. I tend to not file them because I feel like defense counsel just stacks things up while I'm gone and then hits me with them as soon as I'm back. But we can do it through vacation letters. But for us, like David was saying, well, Amy, what if someone files a motion? I'm like, well, what would you do if you're in trial?
Yeah.
We would treat it just like we're in trial and say, look, we are in this intensive prepaid 2-week thing. We need to move this.
Yeah. And part of it too is everybody which I know you're tired of hearing it, but I don't care. I'm gonna keep saying it. You gotta be reducing your caseload so that,
Yeah.
you're doing more quality on your cases, that you have time to do this. In Washington, we have what's called a notice of unappearance, and I do the same thing. Notice of unavailability. What is unappearance? Sorry.
Notice of
unavailability.
I'm not going to not appear, Your Honor. I'm going to unappear. I'm not going to disappear. I'm going to unappear. That's right.
Anyways, and I do the same thing as you, Amy. I don't file them. I did recently just to mess with the defense counsel because they had told me they were going to schedule a whole bunch of discovery like 1 month before trial, and that's not even allowed. But the judge was kind of being defense favorable, and so I put in one. But other than that, so you find out when your jurisdiction allows you to take these 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Reduce, and as far as the court and defense counsel in your cases, as far as your firm and your ability to take those 2 weeks, reduce your caseload so that you're able to spend this amount of time on your cases.
Yeah. And if you're a boss, or if you're listening and you have a boss, you can, if you're the boss, think about this. And if you're younger, you can tell your boss that I said to say this. Leave your folks alone during these 2 weeks. Do not expect them to be doing motions at night. It is not that kind of thing. And if you leave them alone, the amount of time they can spend and what they absorb is going to make everyone such a better attorney, whether you've gone before or not. And the amount you spend comes back in your settlements and verdicts tenfold.
Absolutely.
I mean, beyond tenfold, millionfold.
Yeah, technically. And and the other thing too is if you do bring a specific case, and you'd have to look at whatever your ethical rules allow for as far as costs, but you might be able to bill it to that case as far as tuition goes, and that kind of thing as a cost of the case. And we haven't done that. I don't think we've done that with any of the colleges because we tend to go to colleges generally. But if you're bringing a case and working that case up, your jurisdiction may allow that to be a cost of the case. And it's something that actually some edge lawyers that I've had on the podcast, they have that conversation with clients up front, kind of saying like, listen, I do these courses and, some of that will be a cost to you, but the benefit will, be so much more. It's worth it. So it's something just to consider, it doesn't mean you have to do it, but it's just another thing to consider as far as taking the time and
Right. And like everything else, know your jurisdiction, know your black letter law. We don't do it yet. Look, we've got some multi-million-dollar verdict judgments out there that the other side, hasn't, that we need to collect on. Mm-hmm. But the amount we have spent on colleges, though substantial, is nothing close to the payoff in results.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
The lower blood pressure, which helps you live longer.
And yes. Sorry, young G. Sorry, but it really just, all of it reduces our blood pressure. Even to handle things, shit goes wrong. Mm-hmm. It happens at trial. Things happen. But it makes you better able to handle those. A lot of people know this. A lot of people don't. But we were out of town in a trial. We're staying at my sister's Airbnb, beautiful house. But David comes downstairs at 5 a.m. I'm already downstairs working. And he has suit, tie, coat, socks, shoes. No pants. Not no pants. Not no pants. He had something on. No suit pants. Sorry, I didn't mean to sound like he came down naked. But he forgot. We had all our equipment. We had everything we needed. We had backup equipment, all our tech, and he forgot all of his suit pants. And we were fixing to have to go down to the courthouse. Thankfully, there was a 24-hour place that had Dickies that were navy. And so he wore a pair of Dickies for 2 weeks.
Yep, that has happened to me. That not the no pants part, but right. An important article of clothing. And I've been like, oh my God, where's the closest Target?
Right. But if you're ready, stuff like that, you can laugh at.
Right. Right.
Um,
There's so much unknown exactly of trial already. Like prepare for what you can prepare for. And then the bandwidth is a little bit bigger to prepare for the stuff that you know is coming, but you don't exactly know when or how.
yeah. And another just different way that it reduces blood pressure just makes you happier.
Yeah.
Clients are so happy. Like the whole process makes clients so happy. And so they're texting you to thank you. They're calling you to thank you. They're so nice.
Yeah, they trust you. And so you're not getting the call
And
of like, what's going on? It's more
yeah,
like,
and so that's like, it's like, what is it, oxytocin or whatever is flooding, and then you're letting the shenanigans that defense tries to do roll off your shoulders. You're not focusing on that. You're not getting in email wars. You're focusing on what you need to do to win your case, and all of that combined just makes life so much less stressful. Not stress free, but a lot less. All right.
all right, we got to wrap up. Reed, I saw your question. It says, I know you're working hard to get the details finalized. When can we expect this to be posted on the college website? I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb and say probably around the same time we were talking about when, or actually, you know what? Forget it. Amy, you answer that question.
Um, so the current plan is to post it early next year because we want to try to give y'all months and months and months and months of advance notice. So the goal is like, say, February, March for much later in the year, like much later in the year, meaning like September, October, November timeframe, something like that. But if things go wrong, I mean, Don Keenan will not put it out if it is not ready for prime time. So it's possible they'll have to work out some more kinks, but that's the goal. That's the goal.
Reed wants to put a notification on his calendar so that he can be the first to sign up.
Oh,
I'm saying, I'm sure that's why he's asking because you know what? You got to be ready, right? Because like 10 people, that's a limit, you know?
Reed, are you is Reed the reason that even if I immediately get my boarding pass, I'm still in the C group?
Yeah. Yes. Because Reed puts
because other people have all the systems or prepay or whatever to get in first. Yeah.
Well, it's like Taylor Swift concert tickets. You know, you have to be up early and ready to go.
Yeah.
Because if not, you miss out, and then your life is ruined. So you know,
I'm saying as if I have any idea. Like, oh yeah, Taylor Swift.
Sorry, we laughed at your expense, but we know you're a good sport. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for the questions. I love it when you guys get involved. It just makes us feel warm and fuzzy that you're paying attention and you're here with us. So thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Fridays with Keenan's Cutting Edge. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up. Send it around to your friends. Let everybody know about the podcast as well as this very exciting upcoming college. Sign up for alerts so that you don't miss an episode about the college. Next week, we are live again with Matthew Fogelman, who is going to brag on his recent verdict in a race and gender-based discrimination and retaliation case. I love hearing about these EDGE success stories. Never gets old for me. So I look forward to learning how he did it along with all of you. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next time.